Ladies and gentlemen out there, we're back with the Esch and Akins show. Across from me, I have Mr. Akins, myself, Brandon Esch. We have actually, Jason, moved into the makings of our new studio, a nice gym that that you have discovered and put together for us.
Oh man, I'm excited. This is fantastic.
It is absolutely incredible. You should automatically notice our sound quality is better.
Oh yeah, yeah. And we're gonna be able to get some video going.
Absolutely, we got video. We've got a whole setup here, guys. We've got a studio that's got. We've got an office. We've got a kitchen, 2 bathrooms in the studio. Our own recording room now. It's absolutely amazing.
And this, we're not talking about hanging out in your mama's basement.
That's right. We're not in Mama's basement.
No, we're not. We probably should be in somebody's basement.
Absolutely. But tied up or been hidden, something.
Yeah, somewhat. Bring in the gimp, man.
Jason, this relaunch has been absolutely fantastic. We've seen a much better response than when we launched our original show.
I think it's really it's gone well. I'm very happy with how it's gone. And I think what it is just the change in title, man. The simple change in title. Because when you talk about 2 guys in a podcast, and we had a great time with that.
Absolutely.
We cut our teeth on that, folks. We got our feet under us, our foundation. But we decided, you know what? It's time for y'all to get to know Esch and Akins a little bit better. Not just 2 guys. We're not just 2 guys. We are 2 guys, but we're not just 2 guys. That's Brandon Esch. I'm Jason Akins. And there's a lot more here than just a couple of guys clowning. So Esch came up with that title. I thought it was inspired. I said, man, let's roll with it. And we got new energy. We're ready to take this to the next level.
Absolutely. Obviously, we have a studio, a physical building that is a studio now.
Yeah, we'll have that.
Who would have thought 2 years ago we'd be moving into an actual building, putting our own studio in place? It's amazing.
Man, 2 years ago, they might have thought we'd been in a building that we would have been kept in against our will.
Well, at some points in the beginning of the last one, we might have been in somebody's basement.
That's right, man. But this is great, and I'm just thrilled about it, and thrilled for where we're headed, and thrilled for what we can put out for our listeners.
That's it.
So.
Jason, how's everything been since our last recording with you, man? I know you stay busy.
Man, I'm busy. I'm going to tell you, I'm blessed. The family business is going well. We're getting plenty of work. Probably saying yes to more than I should. I tend to overload, but as a lot of small business people know, that's what you end up doing. It's hard to say no because you can remember those days when you couldn't get arrested. So it's hard.
Well, when you have a small business, you've got to say yes to everything because you don't know when the next payday's coming.
Well, and you don't know when there's going to be somebody's going to say, guess what? I'm going to cancel the project.
Right.
And you're like, okay, how am I going to pay payroll the next week?
Absolutely.
And that's something I'd like to talk about sometime on here is just, and maybe even interview 2 or 3 different people who are small business people, because I think that is the forgotten man and woman in this country, the small business owner.
You're absolutely right. My family runs a small business as well. I mean,
yes, and have from different small businesses.
Many years.
You could say your dad was a small business in of itself.
Absolutely, he sure was. Mm-hmm. And things are going great with him, by the way. I can't say how much weight he's lost doing this program he's on because he's under contract, and I'm not going to mess things up for it. So he's he's looking sharp.
Well, now he's been doing a little podcasting, hasn't he?
He is. He's got his own podcast, Rick Bassman's Talking Tough.
Talking Tough. Tell us a little bit about that.
So, man, it's
what you can tell us.
I've listened to some episodes. I don't always get to listen to it with my work.
Yeah.
My general drive into work, I like listening to music, get my head right. Maybe I should listen to podcasts instead on the way into work. But, they just talk about life and what they've got going on. That's a fellow named Rick Bassman. He's been around the entertainment industry for a long time. You've got my dad. You've got a mixed martial arts legend, Boss Rutan, that's a part of the show. Okay. And they've got a new guy on the show. I don't recall what his name is right now, but they've had several people taking that seat. But it's a pretty cool show. They just talk about life.
Well, have they interviewed anybody, or they just?
Man, they've had all kinds of people on the show. They've had Mick Foley. They've had Al Snow. They've had
wow.
Diamond Dallas Page was on. They've had a bunch of people on the show.
Diamond Dallas Page.
Yeah. Had a bunch of different people on the show with him, which it's pretty awesome. I talked to Dad a long time ago about, he should do his own podcast. And
I agree with that.
He got on board with that. Him and Rick's been friends for a long time, so they put the podcast together.
I think it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just decades of relationships and a wealth of knowledge. There's a lot there he has to offer.
That's it. Absolutely. So, Jason, with me, I work in sales. I work in car sales. And I've worked sales a little bit, earlier in life before the law enforcement career. Mm-hmm. But, man, we've talked about it before that, selling cars has been a calling for me.
Yeah, it has been. You have, how long have you been? Has it been a year?
It's been a year and I want to say going on 7 months.
Okay. Longer than I thought.
Yeah. But I feel at home. I feel comfortable talking to people. Mm-hmm. It's like I told you pre-production. It's kind of relaxing. When I get a customer at my desk, it's very calming for me.
Well, do you feel like you have a chance not only to make a sale and make some money for you and for your family, but also to help someone?
Absolutely, and that's one of the big things. A lot of people rate buying a car between getting a root canal and paying taxes.
Oh man, people hate going to car lots. They hate car salesmen.
Absolutely, and what the company I work for, Bill Penny Motor Company, tries to do is change the public's perception of the scary car salesman. Mm-hmm. We're people too, guys. I'm there to make a paycheck, but at the end of the day, I'm there to make a friend too. Because when you sell somebody a car, you kind of create a bond with them, a special bond. And if you've done a good enough job and you've built that good rapport with that customer, they're going to come back to you to buy more cars.
My dad was like that. He went to the same guy, and he wouldn't go to anybody else because that's who he trusted.
Absolutely, and that is something special. A lot of people talk bad about Walker County and Jasper, but that's something special to me that I notice a lot with the people of this community. They're loyal. Mm-hmm. If they start buying cars from you, they're going to buy cars from you until you die or retire.
Okay,
and that's what right. And I'm the same way. I messed up this year and decided to do my own taxes. And I felt like
you're going to jail, brother.
I felt like I cheated on my tax lady.
You're gone.
Because I've used the same tax lady. I've used Nancy Bentley at a Rapid Return for years.
Yeah.
Probably 12, 13 years I've used her.
You'll be lucky if you're not going in Hawk now.
Right.
I'll tell you,
next year I'm going back to tax lady because that was not fun.
Hey, brother, man, I'm going to tell you. Several years ago, this has been, it's been a long time. My wife talked me into letting her sister do our taxes, okay? And she did it 2 or 3 years. I just said, okay, whatever, that's fine. Well, old boy here got audited.
Oh.
And then I had to meet with my accountant, and she started asking me about different things that were on those returns, and my head just went down. I was like, oh my God, what did she put that? She put what? Goodness, and she said, is there any way you can justify any of this? I said, just tell me how much I need to pay. I can't justify none of it.
Right.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm going to tell you, you can get in a mess with taxes.
Absolutely. But back to sales anyway, man. You work some jobs and, your employer does not show you any appreciation except for, hey, you're not working hard enough, right?
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows that. Everybody's dealt with the boss that does not appreciate what you put in.
And that's a lot of places.
I think really. me and you have dealt with that before simultaneously, haven't we?
Absolutely. But, man, my company has this thing. It's called the Master Sales Program. And all you got to do, you average 16 car sales a month for 6 months, and you're a part of this Master's Program. And with the Master's Program, you get a bonus check every month. You get you can sell new vehicles I work mainly at the Ford store, but and now we've got Dodge, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Toyota in Jasper.
Yeah.
So when you're in the Master's Program, you can sell new cars from all 3 lots.
Okay.
So you have somebody show up, say, at the Ford lot talking to you, I don't like Fords. Daddy was a Toyota guy. Okay, yes, sir, absolutely. I've got a Toyota store too. please allow me to take you up on the hill and show you some new Toyotas if that's what you're interested in.
So it almost gives you, it's like 007, a license to kill. You got a license to sell.
Man, about the only brands I don't have to sell right now new is Honda, Hyundai, and Chevy. Remember, the only 3 brands I don't have that I can sell new vehicles from.
And that's only because they're other dealerships.
We don't own them dealerships.
That's right, yeah.
But, man, last week, last Friday, being a part of that program, they have a Masters dinner every year.
Uh-huh.
So there was 3 of us from the Jasper locations. I was the one from the Ford store, and there was 2 from the Chrysler Dodge Jeep store. We hadn't had Toyota long enough to have any of them in the program yet, but there will be. So they take us up to Huntsville today. They're making a day out of it, right? So we get up there. We go to our mother store, which is Bill Penny Toyota of Huntsville. And we're meeting these other guys. There's about 22 of us total in the Masters program. So they tell us, okay, we're taking y'all. We're renting out this Bullets and Barrels. It's a gun store in Huntsville, right? Renting out the range for 3 hours for y'all.
Wow.
So we get there, and they said, okay, now we're going to give you X amount of dollars for y'all to buy a gun with.
What'd you buy?
Man, I bought me I had a Glock 43, and I had to sell it some time back to catch up on bills, and I found one there, so I bought me another Glock 43 and some ammo for it. It was pretty sweet.
The Glock, you went with the what you know.
That's it, and I love Glocks. My favorite firearm.
That's my pick too. I love Glocks.
You got to look at just that right there. You got to look at the big picture. You've got 22 people that you're giving. Oh, they have some of it. If we've been in Masters for a year, a 16 car average, we got $650 to spend. If you're a 20 car average, you got $750 to spend.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think 22 people times that. That's an astronomical number just by itself. Not to mention the money they spent renting out the gun range for 3 hours.
That adds up.
Adds up. So after that,
that's some appreciation.
That is, to me, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So after that, they take us to the Ledges in Huntsville Golf Club. High dollar golf club, you can tell. Feed us a meal. Now this meal, I've been around the restaurant industry. I know what meat costs, right? Mm-hmm. These cuts of steaks it was every bit of $100 a person meal.
Oh yeah.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
So as we're waiting, everybody that was a first year in Master Sales, and there was probably, I think, 11 of us that was in their first year of it, we got watches. Now, we're not talking about your ordinary everyday watch.
It wasn't a Timex.
It wasn't a Timex.
That's what I'm used to.
It was a Tag Heuer.
Okay.
Tags are very expensive watches.
Okay.
And I knew they were expensive when they gave them out, but I decided I'm going to go home. I'm just kind of curious what the value of this watch is. Mm-hmm. This particular watch that I got don't retail for less than $2,000.
Wow.
Up to $3,600 depending on the retailer.
Man, did you put that on eBay?
No, that's I contemplated in my head. I said, God, I could sell this and have some money set back. And
man, I know a guy that'll take it off your hands for $150.
Absolutely. But no, I'm gonna hang on to it, man. This is something that's I worked hard to get to that point, and that's kind of an achievement award in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna keep it, put it up, man. Give it to my oldest son, whatever have you, oldest daughter, sometime down the road. Nice piece. And this ain't this ain't all of it, man. We're not done yet.
All right, hey.
So as we're waiting, they've got all these envelopes, white envelopes, and all of them's got money in it.
All right.
So as you say, 1 year you got one draw. You got to pick one envelope. 2 years you got to draw 2. 3 years you got to pick 3. 3 years and up you pick 3 drawings. Mm-hmm. Man, I think the lowest number was a $100 bill in one of the envelopes. I pulled 300, and by the time I had got up there, they had told us, okay, there's one envelope with a $100 bill with 10,000 stamped on it. If you draw that one, they're giving you $10,000.
$10,000.
That's no lie, because they took a picture of it and posted on their Facebook page afterwards.
Did anybody get
nobody
that?
drew it because they had the extras. I walked away with $300 from that.
Man, that's a day's work right there.
That's not all.
And folks. And there's more.
And after we eat, they have all of us come up, all of us that are Master Sales, and give a little speech.
Okay.
It was kind of heartfelt for me. I kind of choked up a little bit But when we finished our speech, before we went back and sat down in our seat, they handed us a check.
How much was it?
Another $1,000.
Jesus.
So imagine, and imagine all the money the company spent just to show appreciation for, doing your job.
Yeah.
And that to me means a lot because.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it is. And I've always been a big believer in this. And encouragement goes so much further than just staying on someone's butt.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and to me, encouragement, I understand in some cases you need negativity or maybe constructive criticism.
Well, and I'll go on with that. Some folks need to hear some truth.
Absolutely. And I need constructive criticism sometimes.
Yeah, we all do.
Everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you got to approach everybody different, I think. Mm-hmm. But, man, just that appreciation was just above and beyond what I expected. I expected, go have a meal, get shown I wasn't expecting all that.
Man,
it was amazing.
That's pretty awesome.
It was absolutely amazing.
I'll be honest with you, which I'm sure, folks have all kinds of stories out there, but that's a pretty daggone good one.
It touched my heart. I can't say enough, and I still a week later trying to wrap my head around it, but it's just for the company to spend that much money and show that kind of appreciation just for doing your job. Mm-hmm. And I guess you could say we earned it.
Yeah.
Because, we worked hard to get into the master's program. We maintained that, and they just showed us a little extra appreciation because we was already getting a bonus check for being in master sales.
What were you thinking? Because I know you thought about, okay, say a year and 6 or 7 months ago, here I was trying something new, just hanging on as tight as your hand strength would let you. Now I'm talking about a guy with 6 kids, a wife, and bills. You understand, and not someone that comes from wealth, someone that comes from work.
Right.
And so, what's that like?
Man, I'm going to be honest. I don't get nervous per se. Mm-hmm. And I guess the 12 years in law enforcement doing what we dealt with, you kind of lose sensitivity to nervousness.
You have to. You can't.
Have to. Really, it wasn't scary for me going in. I guess the scariest part was kind of just the unknown.
Yeah.
I've got to make sure I'm making money because I've got 7 people relying on me.
Right.
So that was the roughest part, man. And honestly, and one of the owners, he tells this story all the time about me when we have a function. A weekend, I was ready to walk away because I was just like, I'm not making no money. And he came up there that night. It was 7:00 at night. He drove from Huntsville just to talk to me, and that meant a lot.
Wow.
So he convinced me. He just keep working.
Obviously, he saw something in you.
Absolutely, and that's appreciative when somebody else sees something in you. Which I've always, man. And honestly, when we started the podcast, it really helped me a lot. I've never been nervous to talk to somebody, man, woman, or child. It don't matter. But my communication skills are great because of the podcast, I think, and it's easy for me to talk to other people and relate to people. I can relate to somebody from Farmer Fran to Donald Trump and sit down and carry on a conversation with them. It don't matter. Mm-hmm. So I guess sales comes easy for me.
Yeah. Well, I think growing up with siblings and then your dad being in sports entertainment.
Absolutely. And traveling with him and rubbing elbows with millionaires.
And meeting different people of different backgrounds, different races, different experiences. That does have an impact.
Absolutely.
It does have an impact.
Absolutely.
And I think, I believe you brought those skills to bear when we started the podcast. But I do believe, I think both of us, we've benefited from it. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. But I was already there. That was already there, in my opinion.
Oh, I appreciate that.
But it's kind of weird. We're talking about encouragement and being shown appreciation and all that. And I'll throw this in there. Some people might not appreciate it. I'm definitely not the best guy out there, but I try. And there's this little app I have on my phone I can't remember who it was that told me about it, and every day I get a Bible verse. Okay, and it makes me think. And the one today was from Hebrews, and it was basically talking about encouraging and provoking each other to acts of love and kindness and good works.
Absolutely.
And that just really, I mean, sometimes I read it and I'm like, yeah, okay, I already know John 3:16. But I'm not trying to make a lot of it, okay, folks? I don't offend anybody.
Absolutely.
But I read that, I was like, you know what? What that said to me was, I've got a choice every day. I can be an encourager, or I can be a discourager. I can provoke someone to anger and to bitterness and to some of the rancor we see on social media and everything, or I can be a voice of civility and respect and decency. And in a way, I mean, what you're talking about fits right in with what I read today, man, because I mean, to a very great extent, that hard work, you wouldn't have stayed if you had not got the encouragement.
Right, absolutely. I would have quit. I found something else,
and
making a whole lot less money.
Right, making a whole lot less money. They saw it in you, and sometimes, man, when you're struggling and you're down in the hole and you're fighting for everything, and it seems like it's just all going against you, it's hard to see. You get down on yourself. Mm-hmm. And I remember one night, man, we had a conversation. I think maybe you got a hold of some of that old fire water, and you were down low, and I was worried. I even told my wife, I said, I'm worried about him, and I just kept talking to you. And I've been there before, man. But when someone says, listen, someone who you respect, especially, says, listen, hang in there. You're gonna make it, and then you work hard, and you achieve. And they recognize that?
Absolutely.
I mean, now I'm not putting down, I wouldn't put down for a second the work that you and I used to do. But there were times, and you know this yourself, you might be in a situation where you literally saved someone's life. Yep. Or you prevented someone from being horribly assaulted or whatever. I mean, stuff that no one knows anything about. No one ever had anything good to say to you much.
Never. I mean, what did you get bonus-wise? You got a Christmas bonus that you worried about getting every year?
That was that. Yeah, that was going to get that we were going to get anyway. That we were all barely making it so bad we had to have that to buy Christmas gifts.
That's it.
Or to pay for when your wife hits a deer.
That's it.
I mean, so that's a big thing, man. That's a big thing, and I think just you talking about that and the way you phrased it comes together so well. What's been in my head today?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was an incredible experience, man, and it motivated me to work harder.
Well, and I'm sure along the way, since you've been there for this, like you said, a year and 7 months, you've probably come across other guys, maybe younger guys or younger girls, and you've been able to maybe push them a little.
Well, and I don't see it, and one of my sales managers brought this up one day. We were talking, and I've developed a very good friendship with my managers within the business there at the Ford store, that the other sales staff kind of looks up to me.
Yeah.
Which I am the original member that got hired in the Ford store. I'm the OG, I guess you would call it.
Wow.
So they kind of, I guess he said that he can tell that they kind of look to me for guidance sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I don't see it because I'm on the same level they are. I'm just a sales consultant like they are. Mm-hmm. So I don't see it. But, stuff like that, even coming from management, that means a lot.
Yeah.
You're just direct managers. That means a lot to me.
Well, I'll tell you, I think the guys in sales, and there are so many different industries where you got guys in sales, or I say guys, I mean that generically, men and women, that are making big money, doing great. Some of them are, folks that they're ethical, you can trust. Some of them aren't, and so people, when they think of sales and they think of salespeople, they're like, oh God, here they come. They're gonna just cut my head off.
Right.
This is gonna be terrible. But I think you can do it and do it in the right way and make money and make good money and build a reputation for being. Because I'll say this, and I won't mention the name. But we have a friend in common that got in a very bad situation. And it was terrible. They saved up. They worked so hard. And this was, single mom working hard, saved up to get a car. Finally, something for herself. Had a wreck. Oh, guess what? The insurance company says we can't do much for you because it's more valuable, or it's going to, it
was less valuable than what it appraised for, basically.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, how can this be? I've been paying you guys for years. This is a new car. Yeah. Everything's on the up and up. And they said, well, we're sorry. That's just how the numbers fell. They didn't want to even talk to her. And you guys were able to help her out. Now she's in a new vehicle. Yep. She's okay. You kind of...
And I actually, Jason, a funny story. I sold her both cars, obviously, but the second car I sold her was a car I traded in.
Well, there you go.
Which was a brand new car. It was a 2020 Ford Edge. So
yeah,
it's always cool for me to sell a car that I trade in.
Yeah.
Or one that I took in on trade. That's always cool.
Yeah.
But and I got her in a good car, so it was amazing. Which both cars are good cars.
Well, see, that's where the magic is, man. That's where the magic is. It's not just in making. You can make money in sales. I mean, if you got the ability and the drive, you can make money in sales. But when you can do it and also help people and build a reputation for doing folks right, man, that's magic.
And I have fun every day going to work. It's something new every day, and I have fun doing it.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, man. So we have some other current events going on.
Yes, we do.
Have you seen the clip of Mike Tyson yet?
I consider myself kind of a Mike Tyson aficionado. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you, from the time I was in I guess the 7th grade, when he was really a force of nature.
Right.
He was my guy. He was my boxing guy. And ever since then, he just fascinates me. His mind fascinates me. His ability fascinates me. But there's a recent clip of an altercation on an airplane I have not seen, but you have.
I have. I've seen the clip.
Tell me about it.
And I've read some articles about this, and I've looked into it. This fan was, taking selfies with Mike, and Mike was going along with it. And I guess it got to the point where they started really aggravating Mike. And one of them threw a water bottle at him on there.
No, they didn't. They were poking the bear.
And Mike gets up and just waylays into this guy. I don't see any fault at Mike here at all.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Well, I mean, you got...
Because you got to think, Mike Tyson, his temperament now is nothing like what it was 20 years ago.
No, he's not the same man.
No, totally different man. He's got a different respect for life now.
He has a different... Yeah, I'll listen to a lot of his stuff, and you know what? The guy is impressive. His knowledge of history and his intellectual curiosity and his introspection into his own mind. He can draw the line and say, this is where I'm weak. Mm-hmm. These are my faults. And this is how I try to do right. And, I love to listen to the guy because I learned something.
Absolutely. And I just thought that was crazy that it just randomly happened because Mike's not been in the news for anything negative in years.
No. And so some idiot throws a water bottle at him after he was kind enough to say, okay, I'll take a picture.
Signed autograph, took pictures, the whole 9 yards.
And then what happened?
Mike waylaid into him. I guess Mike got arrested. I read something where he got arrested. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but they also on the clip of the video they show a picture of this guy, and he's just like awestruck that I guess he got hit by Mike Tyson.
That'll be he can tell that story the rest of his life.
Right.
His grandkids will tell that story.
I took a punch from Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Now, not to veer off of Mike Tyson or anything, but somebody else also took a shot recently.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. I was watching that live.
I didn't watch it live. I saw the clips that night or the next day or something. But Chris Rock, one of our beloved comedians, got the taste slapped out of his mouth.
I'm going to tell you, my man, I'm sitting there. I watch the Oscars every year. I'm a movie buff. I've watched the Oscars since I was a kid. And it's something I look forward to every year because I just love to see, what's the latest in movies and all that kind of stuff.
Because we are movie nerds.
We're movie nerds. We've talked about all kinds of movies.
Well, we kind of grew up in that generation, though, too. I mean, we're a part of the movie generation, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, before we came along, if you were going to see a movie, you better catch it at the theater, and maybe in 10 years they'll show it on the late night thing. VHS, DVDs, The world was
man.
at our fingertips.
It
The
was
world of
VH
movies was at our fingertips.
With
then.
VHSs, man, I remember when a movie would come out in theaters, it would be
It'd be
6 months to 8 months before it would come out on VHS.
That's about right. 6 to 8 months, and you would wait for that movie to come
Absolutely.
out. And then you would go to, and we didn't have Blockbuster back then. Eventually we did, but we had Movie Express and all these. The local gas station would rent movies. And so you would go and hey, have you got, is so-and-so here? And they'd say, yeah, but our copy's rented out.
Yep.
And you'd wait for that to get returned.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now we're in the Blu-ray era or the digital era, and you're looking a month later, it's out for your enjoyment.
Right now, Spider-Man Far From Home is out.
It's out on DVD, Blu-ray, digital, whatever have you. It's out there.
Yeah.
So about that, man, Will Smith, what premise of this, I'm sure everybody's heard about it, read about it by now. We're late to the show with this. But Chris made a joke about Jada being bald. She's got alopecia, I think is what it's called.
Yes, it causes distress with her scalp and has affected that. Yes.
But, I mean, you got to think, it's Chris Rock. Comedians nowadays, they say some pretty offensive stuff.
Well, and I've got a little background on it. Okay. Like I said, I was watching it that night with my wife. And when Will Smith walked up there, kind of lumbered up there, he's a lot larger than Chris Rock. You saw it happen, but you didn't know for sure if that was just they were playing. And when Will Smith sat down and you could see his lips moving and they were you couldn't hear anything.
Right.
And I said, wait a minute, this is real. They wouldn't be blocking the sound.
Yeah.
And, of course, then later, everybody is like, okay. I think back in 2015, Chris Rock made some I know what it was. It was the Oscars in 2015, and I'm not sure if it was Will Smith's, one of their children, or if it was Jada Pinkett Smith herself, refused to go to the Oscars, saying that at that time it was kind of being discussed the lack of diversity with the Oscars organization in the movie. So it was kind of like, I'm not going because of that. And Chris Rock made a joke like, you can't boycott something you have not been invited to.
Right.
Well, that kind of started some bad blood.
Sure.
And then, which we'll talk about it a little bit, this past year or so for Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith has been, it's been wild.
A calamity. It's been
a calamity. And, I think what you saw that night was an emotional, psychotic break
for Will.
Absolutely. I think he has, and I don't mean to take his side and just take up for him because I know I don't have all the facts. I know he's probably no angel in his own ways, but I think that the trouble within their marriage and some of the things that have been going on with that, he strikes me as someone who has been emotionally, I hate to use the word abused. I really do, because I can't say that he's been emotionally abused. But this has been building for a while. Mm-hmm. And I think when Chris Rock said that joke, and he initially laughed, and then he looked at his wife and saw that she was not happy.
She looked disgusted.
And with the very, very public affair she had. And, she has this podcast, Red Table Talk or something like that, and kind of pushing that to have him on there and to have people on there to talk about their marriage openly and publicly. I think you saw a guy that just mentally broke. And poor old Chris Rock, his timing was not good.
No, it was terrible.
It was terrible. And, just like you said, with Chris Rock, we've been watching him all our lives. Mm-hmm. You know what you're getting.
Absolutely.
There's no mystery there. He's gonna clown on everybody. He'll even clown on Chris Rock.
Well, that's the thing about being a comedian. That's what your job is.
That's your job, man. I mean, that bothered me as far as comedians go, because it's like, you know what? We don't want it to where they've always, in our society, comedians push the envelope. Mm-hmm. There have, you can go back and look at some of the great comedians, George Carlin, Lenny Bruce from the 60s.
Yeah.
And they were guys that pushed the the conversation, the societal conversation that people weren't having, but they could do it because there was a laugh attached to it.
Absolutely.
You know, Richard Pryor.
Oh, God.
Get up and talk about stuff that people wouldn't talk about.
Right.
You know, and especially coming from a black guy. But you know what? He was funny. And so you know what you're getting there. And I would hate to think that any comedian would feel like, you know, I better be careful. I don't want to get beat up on stage.
Right, because that takes away from what they're there to do.
Oh, it puts a chill on it. And another thing, the one thing, you know, I don't excuse Will Smith for what he did, because in my opinion, he ruined that night for a lot of people who had worked very hard for their films and for their moment, and he took some of that away from them.
Right, I mean, he tarnished the Oscar that he won.
Yes, yes. I mean, representing a guy that had done so much for his daughters, and you know, I kind of feel like he was it was a real mental breakdown, and everybody, no one. It's kind of like at the end of Romeo and Juliet, when Captain Prince comes on after they find Romeo and Juliet dead, and he says, all are punished. You know, in other words, you families couldn't get along. You let things get to this point. Now everybody suffers.
Right.
And I think with their problems resulting in his actions, everybody suffered.
Absolutely. And from my understanding, he's been revoked from the Oscars.
For 10 years.
Yeah.
For 10 years. And I think they're also talking about possibly other sanctions.
Right.
You know, and you got to think, man, that's what he does for a living. So, okay, Will Smith gets the Oscar for this. Well, he can't be here.
Right.
You know, so that's going to hit him there a little bit. And as time goes by, he's going to think, he's already apologized to Chris Rock. But this will follow him for a long, long time.
Well, I think it's going to tarnish his career for the rest of his life. I mean, it's
I do
always
too.
going to be it's always going to be a hot point, I think, when something comes up about Will Smith.
Yeah.
It's always going to be there.
Well, and the thing is, Will Smith, he was kind of one of the Hollywood good guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I'm not saying he's a bad guy now, but if that had been, let me think, I don't know, Jack Nicholson, who punched somebody or slapped somebody, or who's right now I'm thinking of people who folks kind of like, well, they're a little bit different, they're a little bit unhinged. You expect some weird stuff.
What was that tennis player that always got in trouble?
John McEnroe.
John McEnroe.
You know,
you expect that from John McEnroe.
You expect it from John McEnroe. You know, Charles Barkley.
Absolutely.
You expect Barkley to punch somebody. You know, but Will Smith, now, you know, it really. The best thing, in my opinion, he can do is just be honest and say, listen, folks, this is where my head was. These are my issues. I'm just laying it out there. And I think people can forgive honesty.
Absolutely.
You know. Now,
we're going to move from the Will Smith incident. We've got a defamation trial going on right now.
Oh,
mainstream media, and a lot's come out. I mean, over the past few years, this man's reputation has been absolutely destroyed.
He's probably lost. And we're talking about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, folks.
That's it.
He's probably lost because of losing the part in the Grindelwald series of Harry Potter.
Right.
And also
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean. He's probably lost about $100 million.
Or better.
You know.
And, you know, I was kind of neutral about the whole thing because I don't always necessarily believe that women are always going to tell the truth about something.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is, I mean, women are humans, just like men are humans. And people sometimes do not tell the truth, man or woman.
And I want to say this, and I don't say that to mean that women should not be listened to in a situation like this, by no means. Because some situations, absolutely, the man has been abusive and wrong, and they should be punished for it. But women can do the same thing.
Oh, women can be, absolutely. They can be mentally and emotionally abusive. And sometimes it's through passive aggression that builds up over time. They can be physically abusive.
Absolutely.
And think, you know, because I grew up in the generation, you know, you don't hit a woman. You don't do that.
That's right.
And, well, what if they hit you? Well, you just take it like a man and, you know, walk away or whatever. And I'm not saying that any of that's wrong. But I'm going to tell you, when you are with someone, you're married to them, that's your girlfriend, whatever, and that's where you're at, you're stuck there, that abuse takes a toll.
Absolutely. And, I'm not, I've watched and I've read clips, and, man, I don't think Johnny Depp did anything wrong.
Johnny Depp, and I'm like you, I've listened to some of the court proceedings and done a little reading on it. Johnny Depp would be the first person to get up here, I believe, from what I've heard, and say, you know what? I was an alcoholic. You know what? I was a drug addict. Yeah, a few times I acted like an idiot. Did he abuse Amber Heard? What I have seen in court, no, he did not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
A clip got played, I don't remember if it was yesterday or today, of a recording that she said to Johnny. Mm-hmm. Yeah, tell everybody that a woman abused you. Tell everybody. Who's going to believe that?
Exactly, and that's the thing about it. I think it was totally different from what was presented, which and the thing that really aggravates me with Amber Heard, and you know this just as well as I do, there are women out there, just like you said, that are abused, and a lot of them don't have any money. They're not famous. They're not beautiful. No one's coming to help them.
And their story don't get heard.
Their story doesn't get heard because they're stuck in it. And they feel like if they go anywhere, they're homeless.
That's it.
So you have women who are in terrible, terrible situations. Then you got this lady who is absolutely beautiful. She's the toast of the town. She's in big movies, making millions. And she's the one doing the abusing, but yet she takes on the mantle of being abused.
Right.
To me, that's terrible, dude. You're doing a discredit to people who are truly abused.
You're absolutely correct.
Not to mention ruining someone else's life, their career.
That's right. And one of the funnier things of this whole trial is when they started talking about her taking a dump in his bed.
Man, I'm going to tell you, that has got more attention, I think, because of the absolute insanity of that situation. But I'll tell you what I heard about it in the proceedings. Apparently, he, after a night of being literally beat on, struck by her, punched in the face 2 or 3 times, he said, I'm leaving, I'm gone. They had another house. He went to that. He was gone for 2 or 3 days. He got with, I don't know if it was one of his security guys or some guy that worked for him or a friend. He got with him and said, listen, I need to go back. I'm going to get some of my stuff. And they said, I don't think you need to go back.
Right.
Not right now. He said, why not? Why wouldn't I right now? She's gone. She's not there. This is the best time possible to go. They said, well, you need to wait a little while and let the housekeepers take care of things. It's like, what do you mean? They showed him pictures that had been sent to him from housekeeping of fecal matter on his side of the bed. Well, he got in touch with Amber Heard, and she said that was from their little dog. He said, that didn't come from a dog.
That's not dog poop. That's human.
That's what I'm saying. Now you think you can find some backwoods stuff in Piney Woods?
Wow.
You think you can go to the hollers of West Virginia and find some backwoods stuff? It don't get more backwoods than taking a dump.
It's living
in
large,
somebody's bed.
It's living large in Hollywood right now.
It's living large in Hollywood. I'm gonna tell you that. That kind of action that she took. One, it's insane. It's crazy. And pardon me for the use of the word crazy. I know it offends some people, but it's also as trashy and redneck as they come.
Absolutely.
Wild. That's not like being at a party when you're a teenager and taking a dump in somebody's annual and closing it up and leaving it for them to find.
Right.
That's funny.
That's funny.
But that's not funny.
Yeah, right. It's crazy. Hollywood is crazy, man.
Hollywood is crazy. You know who else is crazy? Crazy genius?
What's that?
Elon Musk.
You're absolutely right. Elon Musk. We've been hearing about this for weeks now. And everybody thought it was a joke that Elon Musk was trying to buy Twitter. To start with, he was appointed toward the board of...
they asked him to be on the board.
Asked him to be on the board. And then a week later, There's rumors swirling around that Elon Musk is going to buy Twitter.
Yeah, wants to buy Twitter.
Well, initially it got shot down hard.
Yeah, they said no way. No way.
And
Not for sale.
He offered him, what was it?
$44 billion, with a B.
With a B.
Billion.
$44 billion to buy Twitter. And 2 days ago, just out of nowhere, the board at Twitter approved the purchase.
Yeah, they said, okay, it's yours.
$44 billion.
$44 billion.
He is the sole proprietor and owner of Twitter now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Along with all his other ventures. Just real quick, Jason, we're running short on time for this episode, but do you know where Elon Musk got his start at?
Was it PayPal?
PayPal.
Yes.
He was the creator of PayPal.
I mean, now that is something that everybody uses, and you don't think.
It spawned so many other, like Venmo and Cash App, and
Cash App,
all kinds of other things.
Yes.
The man is a genius. I believe, wholeheartedly, he is the Einstein of our time.
He is. He's a singular intellect, and he's not just extremely intelligent. He is extremely driven. Neither one of us keep the kind of hours at work that Elon Musk does.
That's exactly right.
So I mean, and the guy, he's got the business that sends the rockets up to the moon or whatever. SpaceX. He's got the one that actually bores tunnels, the boring company. He's got Tesla. He shows up and meets with the engineers. He has hands-on.
With every one of his companies.
With every one of his companies. I mean, just imagine the time.
Yeah, well, he's one of the wealthiest men in the world.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Stat I saw today, he has passed Jeff Bezos, which is the owner and founder of Amazon.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's Amazon. That's like electricity and running water now.
That's it. Everybody uses it.
Yeah, yeah.
We touched on Hollywood a little local stuff that we should probably touch on before the end of the episode.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, there has been a panther sighting, a black panther, a wild large cat sighting miles away from our studio.
Yes, yes. And for those of you who are new to the Esch and Akins show and maybe weren't familiar so much with our previous show, Two Guys in the Podcast, we're coming at you from rural Alabama. We are in the deep South, folks. I mean, we're country boys.
Country, guys.
Country. And so we both grew up hearing stories of people who said that they saw, quote unquote, black panthers.
That's it.
Now, a panther, you could call it a mountain lion, you could call it a cougar. It's all the same thing. But the thing is, if you speak with anyone who works in fish and wildlife or anything like that, they will tell you they do not exist. That they are not a native cat to this country. The closest thing to it would be the puma from South America, maybe Mexico.
The mountain lion.
The mountain lion, and that would be if they have a mutation that makes their fur black. But that there is no large black cat. Well, they're sighted all over the world. In Britain, there's been a lot of sightings of big black cats. So anyway, we actually did a show on Two Guys in a Podcast.
Yes.
And we've always said we would revisit that someday. And lo and behold, just a few weeks ago, a good friend of mine, I'm gonna give her a shout out, put her name out there, Barbie Wakefield. Her son was on Mill Creek Road.
Yeah, right there by my house.
Right there.
We're talking a mile.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that thing could be at your house right now.
We're not talking a country mile. We're talking a mile.
Literally a
literal mile. Maybe even less than a mile.
Right. Well, he took a video from his car one night, and it's kind of hard to tell from the video. And someone asked on her Facebook post, "What is this?" Me thinking I'm the ultimate comedian said it's a big black dog, and she said nope. And she sent me a still picture that was taken from that video. I'm going to tell you, my friend, it is the most convincing picture I have ever seen.
I saw the video. I wasn't able to comment on the thread because I'm not friends with whoever posted it, but I saw the video.
Yeah.
I'm convinced by the video evidence that's what it is.
Yeah. And so we won't go into it too deep right now, but in the future we're gonna tackle this subject a little bit more in depth. We want to know, what are these big black cats people are seeing? and try to see if we can figure out what's going on with that. We just wanted to give you a heads up and let you know there are some crazy things happening in the woods, in the hollers where we live.
Right. Another topic we wanted to discuss on today, Jason, the difference in working out at a gym opposed to, say, at home, a home gym. Mm-hmm. We're going to run out of production time today for that, so we will touch that on another episode because it is something that we're both interested in, something you're doing now, working out at a home gym.
Oh, yeah.
I'm working on transitioning from a gym workout to a home workout, so it's a good topic for us to touch on. But, Jason, we've touched on a lot of good topics today, man.
I've enjoyed this. Has been a great show, man. I've had a good time talking with you, brother.
Absolutely. For our listeners, we will see y'all next time. The next show you hear from us will be Nerd News number 2.
Nerd News number 2. Don't miss it. If you do, you'll be sad.